was, but I told him
felt angry, you feel kind of like I told you because of the situation. But, you know, I let you know everything that was happening.
Yo, he's busy. Leave him alone.
So, hang on, let me text.
I just don't want it to keep happening and just being ignored and nobody do nothing about it. Because first they say certain things in the beginning, and then next thing you know, it just spirals out of control. It's like, all right, now it was going too far because I didn't do all of that to her.
So what happened? What started it? Like, what took place that kind of just set everything off?
Like everything that was set off is like it's just the continuous, persistent remarks about me not listening. And it's like I'm listening to you, I'm hearing what you're saying, but whether or not I'm looking at you at the time while I'm listening to you, it's two different things. Another thing is that she thinks that because maybe I don't know, like I'm not listening, or like when she was saying something in class and I was reading, I was still listening to what she was saying. You see what I'm saying? I'm reading at a volume where I can understand and still hear what you're saying.
You were reading what?
I was reading the same book that she gave us in class.
Okay.
So it's something that's required for us. But that's like honest stuff. She's saying that I'm not listening. I'm asking questions, basically, that she's claiming that she said already, which is false statements, because if you said it, or if you said it to just them when I'm not there, then that's something different. You know what I'm saying? So it's that situation where she's saying that, and she made some few false statements, and it was like, yo, what are you talking about?
Like what kind
she's saying that she said this already, and she keeps saying that she said things already. All right, and then one time, one of the chefs, the leader of the team, was saying that, yeah, she said this already. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to tell him, like, listen, we talked about B2B, bring to boil, and reduce to a simmer. When it's at a boil, you're supposed to bring it to a simmer, but we never spoke about putting the top cover on the carrots. That's something different. You know what I'm saying? Carrots is not stock.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to automatically know that that's what you do when you boiling carrots for puree. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Those are two different functions. So a lot of the times with ingredients, which I noticed because I cooked them on my own, I started to read them on my own. I started to in the kitchen, and when I had my apartment or whatever, my room, I had in the kitchen, the freezer and stuff to, gather ingredients the same way in the house and start making the stuff. I had to go buy the ingredients and then buy the herbs and stuff like that to make it once I read the recipe first. So applying it like that, I knew that certain recipes require certain methods, ways of doing things, and it's not always the same as others. And then there might be 5-10 different ways to do something. She even mentioned this in the classroom. Mm-hmm. So it's not just my experience. She said it too. She said there's about 10 different ways to do that one thing. So if that's the case, the information she's given on one day, on another day, her actions is contradicting what she's saying. So I'm taking all of this into account as a student. You see what I'm trying to say? Because I'm trying to weld it together. What you're saying, and actually put it into practice here.
Was she saying, maybe talking about two different techniques, like she was talking about one the other, one day, and then when you guys were in the kitchen, she was showing you another? You think that's what was going on? She didn't.
Nah, that was just one example. This was talking about the puree situation that kind of like tumbled over into the conversation. I mean, the back and forth, but there was many different statements she made. I mean, same statement she kept saying was that you're not listening. Like, that's her point. Like, she's trying to prove from early this morning, she was like, I'm yelling way too much.
Hey, Melvin.
And she's saying, I am yelling way too much, and I'm repeating myself too much. So today I'm not doing that. F that. You know, so like she started cursing, and it was just like, all right.
She was cursing?
Yeah. So this point's where she was. But, you know, in the field, that's how it is. And I ain't gonna lie, because I used to work as a cook. You know, I used to work in the kitchen, you know, so I know how it is. You know, so, but some employers, they take it too far. And they start yelling at people, it just becomes that unwelcoming feeling. Like you feel like you're always walking on eggshells just because you are asking a question or you didn't hear them, you know, and it's like you shouldn't have to feel that way when you're working with someone.
So Melvin came in here to join us so we can all talk together. When that happens, and you know, for her it might seem like you're not paying attention. You know, if you are asking the same question that she just gave you the answer for. If you haven't heard her, or you know you were off doing something else, how do you approach her to ask her to repeat herself?
Hey, chef, a lot of the time she's saying that, but it never happened. That's what I'm trying to say. It never happened. She's saying that she said it before, and it never occurred. So at what point? Because there's a point where I was just paying attention to what she was saying. I didn't read while she was talking today. I didn't do none of that. The video was on. We had watched the video during the course today, and then she made a few statements about the recipes after the video. So she talked about the recipes, and I was listening. I was there, just like everybody else. I'm not getting it. Like, where are we going wrong? It's like deliberate focus on the communication and nothing else. You see what I'm saying? Like, and she's magnifying that, and I'm there to try to learn. I'm not trying to like argue with you. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to be. I want you to be angry at me. I don't want to be angry at you. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just here just to learn, get through this, make it to the finish line so I can take the test and get the certification so I can move to the industry, job industry. Because not every employer is going to do that. You see what I'm saying? Some employers understand that you're a beginner or you might not know everything. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm taking this course doesn't mean I know everything about cooking. I know that already. But I'm not acting like that. But she's treating me as if I am acting like it. You know, it's just because certain people act. If you act like that in the field, people treat you like that when you act like you know it.
Yeah, let me see.
You see what I'm saying? Or they be like, oh yeah, you think you know it all? Then they don't teach you. She wanted me to get out the class. You see what I'm saying? And I didn't know. I'm like, yo, I'm still trying to train. I'm still trying to learn. So it gave me the feeling like she don't want me to be it. You see what I'm saying? Or she's trying to weed somebody out, and that person is me. So you can leave. You know what I'm saying? All of these statements she made, it was just offensive, insulting to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, why are you insulting me? You know, in front of everybody like this? Like I'm basically trying to ask you a question or whatever the case may be. Oh, we went through this already, and it's like she was cursing and saying all this stuff early on in the day, giving a warning, and then she flips later on. Nobody says nothing about it because it's not them. You see what I'm saying? But when she was zooming in on Just, one of the taller guys in the class, you know, he kept quiet. He stood next to me, and I told him like, listen, just go back there and get your cutting board off the back, because Just was at his break, and I could kind of see it because he got quiet when she asked him the question. He never answered. You see what I'm saying? And I know what that is. You know what I'm saying? That's him calculating his next move. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to. Now I see myself going into the same situation now because the attention went from him to me.
I didn't know
and then it just went out of control. So it's like, this was unnecessary. I think she's trying to weed people out.
So, no.
Okay.
Full context.
Thank you.
I wish I could help.
Not your fault.
Thank you, though.
If anything,
I know that.
if I get him to do an outline,
This is not.
Yeah, then I'll be
because
easy.
it's not, again, it's not working.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Okay, cool.
She
Thank
said
you.
that in the beginning.
I think I would like to examine like what this like snapping point was. I'd like to understand okay, well, how did this pass go? What were the issues? X, Y, Z. Because I have to get both perspectives on this. Yeah. I guess like I apologize if you felt disrespected. I do think that, I mean, the way that you're approaching this with this, I mean, I feel like there is a path for reconciliation there. Like, it seems like you really want to do this. There just seems to be a disconnect. And I think it requires us sitting down, having an understanding about what expectations are, how she's going to engage with you, how you're going to engage with her, and yeah, moving from there. So give us an opportunity to speak with her. You have his information as far as like calling and such. You're responsible to email, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
One thing I think is important for us to address, though, is the issue with like recording a conversation.
Right.
What happened with that?
Well,
Sure.
from yesterday, she's made the similar statements that, you know, you're not listening. So I just kept quiet because I didn't know how to respond to that. I'm like, what is she talking about, you know? So today now, she said it again early in the morning, and then later on, she started directing it towards me. I made a statement after she said it this morning to her. Are you talking to anybody specifically? Because, you know, yesterday you made comments to me, you know, that you're not listening. You know, so she was like, no, just in general. Then later on, then it zooms in more towards me, now directly at me. You know, you're not listening because I'm asking a question. She's saying that she stated already, or things that she's saying she stated already, she never did. For example, and this she did say this. But this is after we were separated from everybody else in the room. And this is why I said it was sexual arrest, because it was specifically geared towards me coming into the storage room to get something. And when I got it, she was telling me to pour the puree into the containers here. Got the containers, and now when I go back in there and begin to pour them, she asked me why didn't I follow her continuously to the other area to get the big measuring cup. That was going to be used, so when I saw it, I automatically knew that was going to be used to pour it through the strainer rather than the big pot where it would be spilling all over the place, where it's narrowed like a funnel, you know, thing to just pour it into the container and through the strainer into the cup better, so it doesn't spill all over the place. So we pour it into the strainer and then into the cup, and not into the cup, but into the
basin.
The container. There's a not container, but hotel pan. So into the hotel pan, and then from the hotel pan into individual containers, because that's what she wanted me to do. So now I put it into the containers, and she turns around and asks me, "Why did I put it in? I told you to put it in this cup that I didn't follow her to the room to get." And she said at the end, when I followed her, not to follow her. She didn't say not to follow her, but when I didn't follow her and I just started with the puree, she turned around and said, "Why didn't you follow me?" Well, you didn't tell me to follow you. That's one reason. That's what I told her. But what she's doing is she's making these situations or scenarios seem like I'm committing an offense because I didn't do something that she thought I would do because it was common sense. But you just told me to put the puree into these containers. Hotel pan first, then the containers. So when I started to put them in the containers now from the hotel pan, no, you were supposed to put it in this container that she just retrieved by herself. So there was no conversation. It was only me telling her, "Listen, you didn't tell me that. That's why I didn't come over here." So if I wasn't there with you, how can I even have a conversation with you in regards to that container? What to do with it? You see what I'm saying? So why is she making it seem as though I had a conversation with her about things that I never did?
So,
and then it becomes this thing that spills over into something bigger. Whereas now I'm being targeted with constant statements. You're not listening. You're not listening. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're creating up stuff saying that I'm not listening to you about things that you never said or things that never happened. You're saying that you're doing this, and then you're attacking me and telling me to go home. You see what I'm saying? That's offensive. Like in sexual harassment.
That's not sexual harassment.
When I say sexual harassment, it's
That's not sexual
after taking the training with Mr. Wiseman,
sexual harassment.
Robert Wiseman, hear me out. Well, so I have the notes, and I took the training more than once. It's not my first time. And each training, each teacher, instructor said, sexual harassment doesn't always have to be sexual in nature in order for it to be considered sexual harassment. Making statements to a third party or someone in the work environment that are demeaning, intimidating, threatening, or whatever the elements are, is considered sexual harassment.
They need to be based in gender or sex. Because from what you've told me, there hasn't been anything that's saying, because Josh is a man, I am treating him this
She don't have to say it.
No, there needs to be specificity. What I'm understanding from this conversation is that there's an issue with communication, and there needs to be a establishment of that communication. What you presented is not sexual harassment, Josh. I want to be clear about that.
And then telling me to leave, you can leave. So defending that behavior, you know what I'm saying, is not necessarily, helping the situation. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm telling you, because she was there to experience my reaction to the situation, and possibly hearing it from the doorway, because they weren't fully in. There was a jar, and somebody was talking to them from the doorway when this was happening. So she was saying all of that, but she didn't know that they was at the door. You see what I'm saying? So whether or not they heard it or not, it's for them to discuss what they had experienced or saw. But my thing is I had to record it because of that situation, because of what I was going through, and that is a form of retaliation. Like, and she's coming up with these. She's how should I say it? Creating these scenarios in her head, and then projecting them on me as if I'm supposed to just automatically reckon. Maybe there's a mental health issue. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But she's constantly saying that she said something to me, and it never happened. I don't know where they do that at. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. Like, what is she talking about? Because the recording will show everything. You see what I'm trying to say? Why it was necessary to record is because it will show everything what happened and occurred.
Now, I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
I can sympathize with the fact that you felt the way that you felt. You can't be recording people without knowledge.
Well, she can't be harassing people. That's considered harassment. Even harassment is a violation. It's a violation of the criminal penal law. Now, that right there is criminal. That alone is criminal. You see what I'm saying? Here's a person who I'm interacting with, and she's constantly doing that. You understand? In the communication. Of course, communication, she's alarming me. She's telling me this stuff, and then when I'm bringing it to your attention, you're saying it's not sexual harassment. That's alarming. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, it's like, where do we stop this?
Because it's not. So again, I want to repeat this. There are very clear guidelines as to what constitutes sexual harassment. What you guys are experiencing is an issue of communication that can be rectified. So far, what's happened does not fall into criminal. So I want to be clear. That is not criminal.
Do you know the criminal law? Do you know the statute?
Quite well, actually.
All right, so what is the statute that I'm talking about? I'm referring to?
Listen, man, I don't need to know the specifics.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. If you're making a statement in regards to it doesn't violate the criminal law, then you have to know the statute, the criminal law, in order to make a statement like that. You can't just make a blanket statement covering all the sexual harassment and criminal, and you don't even know the criminal.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say?
So what I want to tell you something. So, and this was like evident throughout like orientation, like there. And I'm not trying to like shut you down, but you have a rebuttal and an argument for every point that is like given to you, right? And you cannot engage constantly in that manner, right? Like there are levels of authority in which someone will tell you something, and this is the space in which they occupy and control, and you have to comply. I'm not saying that you're not doing that in the kitchen space, but are there instances in which...
None.
Okay.
It's only here, and then this, in your determination, in your examination of what I'm telling you about the criminal law and harassment, there's a tendency to say that it's not this, it's not that. That's what you call bias. You see what I'm saying? When there's a mental inclination to make a determination. You
But you
know, certain
recognize
way.
that there's bias on your end as well, right?
I'm specifically speaking about the law and the statute and what it constitutes, right? And I'm referring to what she said. She told me to go home. You can leave. You see what I'm saying?
So let me just make something
And at this point, what I did, and then when I showed her that I'm recording, she said, "Oh, I guess well. Oh well, then you can stay then." This is what I'm trying to say. So this is twisted. You're saying that it's not sexual harassment. A guy posting a naked woman on a job site. You know what I'm saying? A woman can turn around and call that sexual harassment at the bare minimum.
I mean, that's definitely a
Right.
violation of the law. 100%.
Right. Now, me coming in, humbly asking a question. You see what I'm saying? Having to be harassed repeatedly with statements, you're not listening, you can go home. And then when I show you my recording, that I'm recording you, oh, I guess you can stay then. And I have a First Amendment right to record.
You do not have a first
Policies,
right to record in that case.
circulating policies that violate citizens' rights, whether they're just coming home from being incarcerated or, just regular citizens that are part of a program to learn in the learning environment, that right there is not professional. You know what I'm saying? It violates our First Amendment right to record.
No, it doesn't.
Just because you have a policy stating that you can't record doesn't mean that it doesn't violate a constitutional
Well,
right.
what it does is say that if you're going to be in that space, you have to follow those policies. Just because those are not laws does not mean that you get to dictate how you behave in that space. If somebody's telling you you cannot record in this space, you cannot record in this space. And therefore, she has every right to be like, you gotta go.
No, see, let's not twist the facts, because that's not what the facts was based on. Her decision to tell me to leave was not based on me recording. Her decision to tell me to leave was before I told her I was recording. You see what I'm trying to say? And her reaction to it was, oh, well, I guess you can stay there. Not that, oh, now you definitely got to go. No, she didn't do all of that. She was shocked. You understand? And immediately she felt guilty. And she showed it. You see what I'm trying to say? Because of what she was doing. Now, what I was trying to tell you is that I have a First Amendment right to record, and it's perfectly legal here in New York. It's a federal law. Outside of that, it's also a civil right governing recording. So audio recording is legal in New York as long as you give yourself consent to record, which I do.
Did you
Give
give?
your self-consent?
Of course.
You have to give her
I don't-
consent to record.
She can record all she wants.
No, you cannot record another person.
It's the law.
No. Okay, so here's what I need you to understand. So there's organizational policies, there's policies that you have for a job, right? But there's things that if you do in the job space, you might not go to jail for it, but you will be let go from that job. Let's talk about relations.
That's called retaliation.
No.
It's not legal. That's not legal either.
Organizational policy says X, Y, and Z. If you violate X, Y, and Z, you don't have this. The conversation we had previously. You can be fired for a job if you violate the policies of that job. The policies of the job are not necessarily legally binding laws, but they are the policies of that space in which you're occupying.
That doesn't mean that process or that policy is legal. That's what I'm saying. It's unlawful.
Okay, but then you're going to have an issue with every single institution that you're going to be in. Because you're going to be asked to comply with these standards of an organization.
Yeah, but that conflicts with my constitutional rights. So that's when it will spill over into the courts. You see what I'm trying to say to you?
But you can't take someone to court over things that you feel.
It's not a feeling. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the laws that stated. Those laws will be referenced in court. It's not even a feeling.
But you're going to have a very hard time making that case, is what I'm trying to explain to you. Because, again, the law is not going to back you up in terms of the allegation of sexual harassment and all these things, because what you have presented is not display as such. And so that's what we're trying to move you away from. There are things that you have to comply to, just like in the MTA, for example, in the MTA, but you can't smoke a cigarette on the train, stuff like that, where it's these are the laws, these are the rules that are in place for this space. And so what we need to do is make sure that everyone's on the same page as to what the rules for that space are. Now, you feel offended by the way that it's shut in future, we will have that conversation and we'll make sure that there is an understanding and all of that. But you also have to understand, insofar as it's not like violating you.
Someone making an offensive statement is an element of sexual harassment.
No, it is not.
Look it up.
No, it is not. Because, again, the clear thing is the sexual aspect. Does this violate gender? Does this violate sex? At no point in the information you have presented has she referenced you being a male.
Me being a black man, and I'm the one.
You see how you're projecting here, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because that's a fact. I am a black man, and I'm still in the course, and that's what I'm saying. I'm interacting with her, and she's telling me offensive statements.
But are they rooted in your blackness? Or are they rooted in you being?
It's the treatment. I'm being treated differently than everybody else in the class. I'm being targeted. I'm being singled out. Yeah, that's discrimination. So that's what I'm trying to say. You're not really seeing the facts for what it is. And there's a tendency, there's a mental inclination to say that and disregard what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? Despite the fact that it meets the elements. That's what I'm trying to say. I only said it because of the elements.
But I could try and explain to you that the elements that you're presenting are not all in line.
Okay, and I'll bring them to you so that you can see on the local law 96, which is what governs that course that we took in on fast track. You understand the sexual harassment course, which I received a certificate from, and that's not the first one I think.
I mean, we've always done our sexual harassment training,
Which is cool. Well,
no.
No. See, the training tells you in the training because it states the different elements that it meets. An offensive language or conduct is meeting the element.
You're missing the key word. The key elements that dictate this sexual harassment are whether or not this was based on you being a man or if there was some kind of a sexual violation that happened. She touched you, she didn't say anything.
She repeatedly harassed me, stating that you're not listening when there was no actual statements of facts that she said these things to me prior.
Can I ask you, where do you pull sexual harassment from the word you're not listening? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, this is repeated statements that are alarming, and it's criminal as well. That's what I'm saying. It's a violation of the law. Huh?
Please explain the criminal aspect of this.
She's repeatedly making statements that's alarming.
Why?
And that meeting the element of 240.60 of the criminal penal law. It's criminal penal, CPL. That's what I'm talking about.
Josh,
You want me to pull it up? I can pull it up on my phone. We can go through the elements ourselves. We can read the statute.
I mean, we can. That's fine.
All right.
What I'm saying to you is that, you gotta understand that, every time someone does something that doesn't agree with...
It's not about that. It's more so about whether or not you're complying with your job. You know what I'm saying? You're cursing at people. You're carrying yourself unprofessionally.
And so that's its own issue.
And that's negligence. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's unlawful. You know, it goes in many... breach your fiduciary duty of care. You know what I'm saying? That's also unlawful.
And, you are misunderstanding Chef No's relationship to you and her obligation to you. She doesn't have
Candor. Duty of candor.
Yeah, she doesn't have an obligation
to teach us, yes. And what she's doing is she's telling me that these events occurred and he didn't, and she's penalizing me for that. She's telling me I can leave. I'm no longer in the course, and now because she's being recorded, I can stay.
Let me ask you, how much of this back and forth happens when you're in class?
None. There's none. No instances where me and her stood for this long going back and forth on a particular matter.
Okay.
As me and you talking right now, we probably sat here since you got in here and sat down on that chair and started talking after listening to me. We have not been talking in class for 20 minutes. Back and forth about one particular subject, which we disagree on. Now, if it's like that, I could tell her, or she could tell me, listen, we could talk about that later. Mm-hmm. And we could address the issue later. I'm there for learning.
Okay.
And that was clear. I asked a question. That's a part of learning. The student asks his questions. That's the only way the student's going to find the answer. So he's asking the teacher, who's supposed to teach her. That's her duty to teach. That's the duty that's commonly accepted by society when you have a teacher in the classroom. The student is there to learn. He's supposed to ask the teacher the question. But she's making it seem like she's not going to answer. No, she's telling us from the gate she's not answering no questions. That's violating her duty of candor. You see what I'm saying?
In her, like she stated quickly that she was going to treat you and everyone in that space as if this was a kitchen because this is the expectation.
That is not what she said.
I was there on the first day, John.
I'm not talking about the first. I'm talking about earlier that day, today, when what she said.
Well, okay, so first, what did I say? What did I say in reference to?
You said the first day.
She stated her expectations. She said that things are going to move quickly. John and I were both there. And she said that you're not, we've had conversations about y'all are not going to.
Does it mean it's right? Does it mean it's lawful if somebody conducts himself like that? Is it professional?
There's no legal piece to this, Josh, is what I'm trying to explain to you.
Standard of care.
She doesn't owe you care.
Okay, so what, all right, so what are Fortune Society's code of conduct?
So,
How are employees of Fortune Societies supposed to carry and conduct themselves here at Fortune?
she's a subcontractor.
Okay.
She's not your case manager. She doesn't
Alright.
owe you any resources or
Alright.
anything. She's there to teach.
Okay.
The understanding from us is that you are encountering difficulties, if you're encountering challenges with individuals, they're showing up late, they're not coming to
I
class.
came late one day, and what's she doing? She's retaliating against me because I came late. If that's the case, if that's why you keep bringing it up, I came in late one day, which was today.
I brought it up once.
Yeah. She said it to me earlier. You said something similar or something like that. I'm not sure, but what I would say is this. Even if it's that, because she mentioned to me, you guys can get kicked out if you're late more than 3 times.
Correct.
So my thing is, I come in late once, and she says that. Okay, he asked me, why am I late today? I said, it's 9:14. So
That's late.
from what I understood, that you have up until 9:14 to get into class. The fast track teacher, Mr. Robert Weinstein, never explained. He explained to us that if you appear after 9:14, we give you 15-minute leeway, but if you appear after, you're late. That's what he said. So that's where my understanding is.
We had an orientation which stated 9 to 4 is the expectation.
Okay.
We also stated
Right.
latenesses and absences, you have 3 for each. But if you're later than 9, you're late.
We don't
Okay.
give the leeway.
All right, so this is the difference between what he said and what you're saying. Now, you see what I'm saying?
The workshops operate a little different, so we don't give our folks that leeway or that grace with the vocational programs, just because that is prepping you for employment. We don't get that. We don't just have a grace period where we can just come in when we want to. It's not up until 9:15 that we have to be here at 9 o'clock because that's our time. So that's the same thing with that.
Yeah, and the point, I guess, overall was the reason that we are saying this is how many you get, and she's saying this is how many you get. And I know that's not the main focus here, but the point is that the hope is that by the end of this, we're transitioning into a kitchen job, and you might have the frame of mind to be like, cool, I'm going to this next job space, and I'm never going to be late, and I'm never going to miss days and stuff like that. Other people in that space don't have the same mentality, and so we need to enforce that. So that's just, and you're going to get that for all the trainings. If you do bullshit, if you do anything, if you're late, that's it.
But there's no exception for sexual harassment or abuse. You see what I'm trying to say? Just because you want to do that, or I'm just saying, even if that's the cause of it, you know what I'm saying? If it's late, past 15 minutes, 9 o'clock, or you just want to enforce, people to fear coming in late, or who knows? You know what I'm saying? Whatever the reason is that she made the decision to do that, it's unlawful. She's not allowed to do stuff like that to people. You see what I'm saying? If a person is late, it should just be reported, and it's up to you guys to determine whether or not you want them to stay. I'm taking it serious. Regardless, if I stayed in the class, even after being abused by her, you see what I'm saying? And then learn more what I could learn, and I came in late tomorrow and the day after that, you guys would kick me out if you wanted to. So it doesn't matter what I do. You're going to get rid of me regardless. So whether it's her doing it or you guys doing it.
That's not.
You know, I'm just saying though, like because look at it. I'm complaining about what she did today. I'm being told by you, it's not this, it's not that. When the law says it is, and now it's not being respected. You know, my rights is not even being respected. It's like it's a doorway opening where it can continue to unfold and happen to me, just because everybody else think the workplace culture is fine. You know, it's fine for this. This is what they're talking about when they say workplace culture. When the manager feels that it's okay. When the person who's doing it feels like it's okay. And the victim is the only person that feels like it's not okay. The law is saying one thing. Everybody else in there is saying that it's okay for this offense to be perpetrated against you as much as possible.
So a couple of things on that. The first piece of this is that we're both taking this quite seriously. And the thing is, we're listening to you and we're hearing you out. And I will again tell you that nothing that you have presented falls under sexual harassment.
All right, I'll email it to you.
Feel free.
If you have an email, you give it to me. I'll email it to you so that you can have an email.
Sure, man. But like I'm very familiar with the law. I'm very.
What, you a lawyer? You went to law school?
I mean, my cousins are lawyers. Like I'm a political science major. Like I'm well versed on what sexual harassment looks like. I'm well versed on the terminology and the language around that. And then you continue to take out the piece in which this is based on gender, which is based on sexual orientation. I'm
a man, black man. I'm actually
an assumption.
It's not even an assumption. It's a fact. Okay. I'm a black man. Am I sure that I'm black?
No.
That's what.
I think so.
Like.
You're a black man. That's why. Your treatment is because you're a black man.
And no, it is. Like, but that's what I'm asking. Why? Why are you treating me like this? Why am I being treated like this? That's the question I'm asking. I can't answer for what her actions is.
She's the one who's doing this. Black men in the class.
Yeah, but then none of them are experiencing this.
So do you think then that if there's other black men in the class that she had an issue, you know, working with black men or teaching black men, whatever?
Yeah.
Do you think that they would also see the same issues?
Or it could be my legal disability. I don't know. This is Fortune Society. What Fortune did was Fortune decided to put me on interviews to be harassed by some more harassment yesterday. Miss Tanya put me on interviews with 2 employees that I'm suing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I didn't know. Oh, how you didn't know? Why is it such a coincidence that I have? I'm suing Samaritan Village on one of my complaints in the federal court, and I'm being put to work with them possibly now. And in a course of me trying to obtain work, they over there committed fraud, and then telling me I can't work unless I pay for the toxicology screening and the TB shot. You understand? And I don't have the money for that. Why is it my responsibility to pay for that? So that becomes a barrier within my employment because I don't have the funds to pay for that. I'm indigent. I don't have it. I'm not working. It's obvious a person who's not working won't have the funds to pay for that stuff. You see what I'm saying? And if I do have any money coming in, that has to be used towards, you know, whatever I could buy for myself personally.
Have you talked to your case managers about those concerns?
I talked to Ms. Tanya about it. I actually emailed her BCC the emails that I was sending out. You know what I'm saying? And the employer, you know, you can listen to them. On one conversation they're saying this, and the next conversation they're saying that. And it's like, all right, so, and then she sends me, what kind of letter is it that she needs in order to give me the incentive? The offer letter.
Right.
She sends me the offer letter yesterday and says that I signed it a long time ago. If I signed it a long time ago, I would have asked for the copy because I know I needed it for Tanya to see. She's lying. So what she did was she created a box just like this. Sorry, I'll put it right back. This same box like this, but it was about this big with my email, my signature, my name, and no signature. She's saying I signed it, but she used DocuSign for all the other documents as that she sent that same day. So I asked her this one question, which is obvious that any intelligent person would ask. Why is it that this paper doesn't have DocuSign on it, and this one does? Oh, we don't use that for our paperwork. But this had, that same paper that she created with this official letterhead for Samaritan Village had the same official letterhead, and so did the DocuSign paperwork that I printed out, that I had to bring to the city MD. I'm tired of running around. I get to city MD, they telling me I got to pay for it. she's telling me, oh, we don't do that, you have to take care of that. Why is it's not my responsibility to pay for that stuff? Like, I don't have the funds to do that.
Get Medicaid.
I have Medicaid, but they say they don't take it. They said it's not considered urgent. So I was like, this is ridiculous. She tells me to go to any city MD the day before, you know, and it's like day before yesterday. So when I get to the city MD now, after doing all the paperwork, oh, you have to fill out all this paperwork. Now, when Friday comes, you know, you have to do it by Friday. You have to get all this done by Friday. So I'm being penalized because I didn't get an offer letter. If I would have got, I was waiting on an offer letter because what he told me was that I needed to get the offer letter first. Once I get the offer letter, then that's when I'll be able to get the incentive, and then that's when I should authorize the background check. You see what I'm saying? Or not authorize the background. I wasn't going to authorize it. They never gave an option to not authorize it. So that's another reason why I didn't, you know, authorize the background check, because you never gave me the option not to, so that you guys can follow the analysis 23 of the law that y'all supposed to follow when it comes down to hiring people. So they didn't want to do that. So because I was listening to what Robert Weinstein said, and it just spiraled out of control. Like, now it's only 2 days, so I'm like, you know what, later for this job, because I don't have time to keep up with this running around stuff, getting money that I don't have. I don't have the money. You know what I'm saying? And not only I could keep running around, I mean, as far as the paperwork goes, but I don't have the funds to pay for that stuff.
How much is it that you have to pay?
I didn't even ask the guy, because it was just like ridiculous. She sent me an offer letter, and right then and there I just knew, like, all right, you guys are gonna keep playing this game, lying about. She literally sat on the phone with me, and I'm hearing her typing, because I was like, you never sent me the offer. Well, I'll send you a copy right now. And now she's just like, hold on, let me look for it. Then she starts typing, and I'm like, what's all this typing in my head? That's what I'm thinking. Then she's like, oh, I just sent it to you. So when I look at it now, it's showing the box with all the stuff in there, and if you look at my other documents, it shows my signature and the date from DocuSign. She said, oh, you did it on ADP. ADP only was used to send us the numbers. Mm-hmm. There's numbers that when you click on the link, it sends you these numbers to type in to verify that you're moving to the link. So it verifies your phone number or whatever by sending you a text or email, and you get the email, you see the number, and then you type it in, and then that's why you can't use a mobile phone. You have to use a laptop, because you can't be on the same phone and getting the email and then trying to type in the number, because it won't let you, because you have to go back into that same email box in order to. So I used my laptop. I got through it, and it just wasn't working. So these are the things that I'm looking at, and I was like, this is why recording is so necessary in this situation, because if I don't have records, the First Amendment right to access the records is there so that you can look back. Citizens can go back and look and remember what happened. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to being forced to go through things, harassment, whatever it is, and then lose out on something. And now you can't remember what happened in addition to that. That's real messed up. You see what I'm saying? Then what kind of condition is that? That's an oppressive condition. Like, why am I being oppressed just because I'm black? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm being told I can't do this, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But anybody else can do whatever they want to do, wherever they work or wherever they want. You know what I'm saying? And I have a right to do that. And y'all guys are saying that you can't do this, you can't do that, and you have a right to do it. Come on, the Constitution is the basic fundamental rights, the Bill of Rights that every citizen has. No law, and the Supreme Court already said it. You know, look at Miranda versus Arizona. It says the rights secured by the Constitution are involved. There can be no rulemaking, no legislation to abrogate. So what makes an employer think that he or she can go and just create these policies to abrogate and do away and diminish the constitutional rights? You see what I'm saying?
So you recognize that like state laws and
it's federal.
municipality things are a thing. You know that like federal laws really don't even reject like anything when it comes to state laws, right? Like there's an entire separation between the two, and that's why some states have legal abortion, some states don't have legal abortion, even though, you know, like there were at one point it was like federal. You know what I'm saying? Like there are things within and hold on.
I'm gonna listen. That's not true.
That is 100%.
I'm gonna bring the book in tomorrow for you to read.
I won't be here, but okay.
All right. I can email it to you. I'll take a picture.
Feel free, man. But like, you like, I feel like you have issues with authority.
No.
Yeah, I think you do because
It has nothing. In my heart, there's no malice towards you because you're a supervisor.
I'm not
You know what I'm trying to say? I'll look you in your eye and tell you that sincerely, genuinely. Because she's a teacher, I have no malice, no genuine, none of that. Hate. I don't hate people. I don't go around messing with people for no reason. You see what I'm saying? Somebody had to do something to me in order for me to respond and react that way. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I don't go up my way messing with people. You see what I'm trying to say? People tend to like to do that with me though, because one, I don't have family. You know what I'm saying? To come and sit down in a meeting like this with me, or so that I'm not just the only one witnessing it. Because if it's more than one person, a lot of the times people tend to look at the other individual like, yo, you're barking up the wrong tree, because I might not be working, but this person is, and that person got money, and they'll hire a lawyer. Now, when that lawyer get the kicking on you and knocking on your door, serving you some paperwork, you know what I'm saying? Then you got problems, because now you got to deal with the legal issue. Now you go get your lawyer. Now, if no telling where that'll end. You know what I'm saying? You might be out of a job. You might, who knows? You see what I'm saying? But it's not done to do that. That's not my intention. I'm not always thinking about law or trying to. This is something that it seems like an external thing. Somebody wants to interfere with my training. This is not the first time this happened. You see what I'm saying? Where I'm being harassed. So this is why I'm able to quickly notice what it is. And that's why I'm pointing the finger in that direction. It's not the first time. I'm not saying with unfortunate. I'm just saying in general.
So, I mean, can we hold space for the sociological, psychological phenomena of you've experienced things in which people have discriminated against, and that's colored the way that you see things happening to you?
Well,
because that's very much a real phenomenon that happens.
Well, what about situations where people did say, nigga, and stuff like that to you? You know what I'm saying? So, women or men. You know what I'm saying?
And so
employee or not.
What I want to hold space for, Josh, is the fact that, like, look, you've been through your stuff. Nobody's denying that, and you have experienced things you have. But I'm concerned that you might look at every instance in which someone has treated you in a way that you didn't think was correct as a form of discrimination. Because what we need to do is get to a place where we can have, like you and Chef Mel can have conversations with each other and communicate with each other, have that respect for each other in that space. I think that you're communicating your thoughts, succinctly and how you feel about it. I do think that you two need to have a conversation around, okay, here's what happened from my perspective, here's what happened from your perspective, what can we do in the middle? Because you're a rational individual and you're very intelligent and you're more than willing to listen to reason. I need you to, I don't want you to view it as she's intentionally harassing you or treating you a different way because you're black or a man. I don't think that to be the case. And if that is the case, then she gotta go. But we need to have, and that's the truth, man. Like, we don't have space for people who are going to, treat people unfairly.
Yeah.
But we also need to recognize when something is actually unfair versus, like, there's things that are miscommunications. There's things, this person's picking on me, and then there's this person's literally harassing me because of my race or gender. And again, that's why I keep coming back to that point.
You want to see something? You can go to my YouTube and you can see everything that I'm going through, even to this current day. Like, I have things that I didn't even post yet on my YouTube, and I will post. The only problem that I'm having with that is because I'm having some hacker hacked my phone and it's deleting my videos and messing around with my stuff. So this is, but you can go and you can see this is not the first incident what I'm referring to that's like this, and you will see many of them where the same attitude that was displayed. If you want to copy the recording, you can listen to her volume. You can listen to her yelling. She's deciding to yell at me. You know what I'm saying? They're screaming at me and stuff like that. Like, that wasn't happening with nobody. You know what I'm saying? There's things that I'm not even talking about that happened today. That's, I'm not able to recall everything at once just because I'm talking to you. And that's because I didn't actually go through the evidence, or you can listen to it. I can send you a copy if you want, if you were right with that. And you can listen to what actually took place today. You know what I'm saying? From beginning to end. And you tell me what you think about the yelling and screaming and stuff like that, because it was just like, yo, and the cursing, like, what
Yeah,
was
that's not fair, and we're gonna have a conversation about that. Look, I'm not saying that the way that she behaved today was all the way correct. I just don't think it was motivated by you being a black man. And so, like, we need to move away from that. And my question to you is, do you want to continue in this work?
Yeah.
Okay.
I showed that afterwards. I went back in the classroom and I know how it is in the field. It's like that in the field.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean it's right. A lot of people quit in situations like that. A lot of people, and that's what she's telling you can leave for. I identify with that because it happened before. It's not the first time, but that's not how you treat people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to be going around treating people just any way they want just because, man, you can't. You're supposed to be teaching people correct standards, you know, care, stuff like that. Like, that's negligence. That's outright. Okay, we're gonna do how I do it in the field. That's how you do it at your job. You know what I'm saying? But we're at school here, you know. But if I do run into that in that job, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna bring it up on the sexual harassment because that's what it is. But you might not agree with it. They might not agree with it. But best believe the company shut down that location and moved to another location when I put it into HR, and HR said it wasn't harassment, and I was going to the court with it. I went to the whatchamacallit, the federal government to it with it, and a year or two later it's no longer there.
So you got because
No, but they probably had more instances that were the same because it was this was tender greens, but they relocated. This was before COVID.
right, and so 2 years later it shut down. So a restaurant got
This is
closed down.
before COVID.
But this got shut down before COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. So look, man, like
search for north side.
you've been in this field and you've seen like that kitchen environment. Is every time there's a tense situation in that, are you going to
This one? Right there.
suspended sexual harassment or racial discrimination?
I'm gonna call it what it is. That's what the Bible says. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what God is. Call it a spade a spade. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and like tiptoe through the tulips. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it's the. You know, this people. This where do we draw the line? You know what I'm saying? The law is saying this, and you're gonna keep taking abuse, and you don't feel right with it. It doesn't sit well with you. So why would you? If I did this to you, man, you probably would be so shaken up, and you'd be like, yo, but you have this. This is your teacher. I'm your teacher. But I'm itching, I'm talking to you crazy, and you have to deal with this every day. Nah, come on, man. I'm yelling at you.
3:30.
Oh,
So we would have a conversation.
Let me know how it goes.
I can't hear you. What you saying?
Sorry. We would have a conversation around that because I don't want anybody yelling. But the question, like, I'm not gonna look at that like, damn, this person's yelling at me because I'm a man. That's what I'm saying. Like, I keep trying to get to that,
Listen,
bro. Like,
so the way slaves were treated, bro, by predominantly white people, you know what I'm saying? It's just like that. It happened then, and it's happening now, and it's not too far off from.
this is not slavery, bro.
That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to say.
She's not treating you.
But you're
as a
treating
slave
you.
master,
Listen,
man, like,
you're sitting there abusing me just because you want to create in your head scenarios that never took place. What about all these people that was out there that got falsely accused of rape that never did rape nobody?
you understand?
You see what I'm trying to say?
You see how you're
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like,
referencing false
I'm
accusations
just
of
saying.
rape.
I'm just saying because in court, black men weren't allowed to give testimony. You see what I'm trying to say?
Right.
When, let's say, a white woman did that. You see what I'm saying? And that was you understand like what people have to go through.
I'm well aware of that.
So this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I
You see
get
what I'm trying
that.
to say? So it's like.
I think you're conflating things. That's what I'm saying. Like, people can be yelling at each other, and it has nothing to do with discrimination. It has nothing to do with sexual harassment. Do I agree that there was people yelling at each other? No. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to call Chevron over and go, hey, so what's going on here? But you cannot view that under the lens of because I'm black, because I'm a man, you treat me this way, and I can point to this. Because, again, when I keep asking you what aspects of this are her treating you this way because of this, you can't point to that.
Again, I just told you, offensive language or conduct, I will get the elements for you. I can pull it up on my phone right now.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is later on, I'll email it to you once I read through my notes. From not this course, but other course that I took. On the local law 96, the same law. It's just whether or not the videos are the same. But I think they are. But it says it in the video, you know, the different elements, and it goes, sorry.
I think it's important to, you know, Melvin isn't saying that this didn't happen, right? He's not saying that, you know, you weren't yelled at, that she wasn't behaving inappropriately as far as, you know, yelling at you and cursing at you, right? He's not saying that. We're acknowledging, you know, that this could have happened, right? Unfortunately, I didn't get to hear anything when I was outside of the door. However, what he's saying is, just because that happened doesn't mean it's necessarily because you were black or because you're a man, right?
You're projecting what we're trying to, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like because of the things that you've experienced, that's understandable, I'm not blaming you for this. You've experienced things in which people have discriminated against you, maybe you've been sexually harassed and done that. And that comes up when you have an aggressive stimulus happening.
I disagree, but I agree to disagree. But if that's what your opinion is, you're entitled to it. You see what I'm saying?
I have this opinion because of the facts that you are presenting on sexual harassment.
And maybe if I find the facts that point to sexual harassment, I will disclose them to you, and you will definitely have that in your email. You know, give it to you.
For sure, man. Look again, like.
Even if it's after you talk to her, I will point it out to you so that you, or after I talk to her, you talk to her, I will point it out to you so that you can see what it is. Because just because we talked about it and she talked to me about it, or we all talked about it, and it's after the fact, I will still show you that wrong is wrong, and I'm just pointing it out. God says to expose the wicked, all right? And that's all I'm doing. I'm not sitting here trying to be, you know, having a problem with authority. It has nothing to do with authority. It's just about what he says, okay? And that's what I'm going along with. That's it.
You can recognize if your viewpoint on what is wicked based on your experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like
I know a good spirit and I know an evil spirit. So the spirit, the feeling that I was getting at the time wasn't a good one. Okay, I'm feeling anxiety. Not anxiety. Sorry, I'm feeling what they call that? Not anxious. Adrenaline rushing because I'm being harassed. And now, as I'm speaking, you can hear it in my voice. I have a hard time communicating with Liliana as I'm trying to explain to her what she just did, because you just have been harassed. You see what I'm saying? Regardless of what you say or your opinion is, you know what I'm saying? I know what took place. I know what I felt, anger. I know what I felt behind what she did, emotional distress. You can see it when I was talking to you, you know, or if anybody listened to the recording, you can hear it, you know. So that right there is not lawful.
Do you have the recording?
Yeah, if you, like I said, if you want a copy, I'll give it to you. But she's so like, yeah, and I need a copy of that. And I said, okay, you make it seem like it's something to be boasting about. It's not something to be boasting about just because you harass somebody. So what you going to do with the recorder? I just post it on YouTube. If that's the case, you want to record it, and let everybody get a recorder. You know, because it becomes public information, because you're dealing with a public interest. When it comes to rights and the violation of those rights, that becomes a public interest.
Yeah, you can't post that.
But at the same time, that right there, and that's what we had a discussion in class about. You see what I'm saying? And why did we have that discussion? Prior to this happening. Why did this happen right after that?
Listen, man, I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is you can't legally record people without their consent.
Legally record people without their consent.
Correct.
Yes, you can. Look at the federal wiretapping law, and stating that just because you feel that the federal law doesn't mean a thing when it comes down to the state law. There is no state law prohibiting employees from recording others in the workplace.
That is a general policy.
There is no law.
Did you?
A policy is not law.
Okay, so, but like again, like, so when we're talking about things, like if you want to maintain a certain status, whether that's a job position, whether that's in a program, you have to comply with the policies that are in place. Just because you don't feel that they're lawful based on how you feel, again, the laws are, your rights are not being infringed upon by saying that you cannot record in this space. Like nothing bad is going to happen to you because you didn't record. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas you are violating the other individuals in that space desire to not be recorded. And so whether or not like that's like you feel that's a legal thing or not, it doesn't change the fact that that's not allowed. Same thing like going between carts in the train. You shouldn't be doing that. You can't be doing that. You'll be kicked off the train if they catch you doing that. They're not giving you a ticket, but they're going to throw you out because that's how workplaces work, and that's how organizations work, and that's how orders count. We agree, like when we set expectations, when a person is like, look, this is how we're going to conduct ourselves in this space, it's with the understanding that the person who has laid down, the person or authority that has laid down those expectations, you turn to them as to how you should proceed in those situations.
Judges in New York City have ruled in cases that you can record. Citizens have the right to record.
Against cops.
And they said, no, not just cops. They said, even we have the right to record. Even judges are saying that we have the right to record. Citizens have the right to record. I'll send you the case law and you can read it yourself. You see what I'm trying to say? This is not something that I'm just didn't do no research on. No, I did my research. It's there. I'll give it to you. I even read it in class while we was going through the lesson. You know, and that's the reason why. That's not the reason why, but she just happened to be talking about that right when I was giving when I was reading that.
For the purposes of this program, you can't be doing that. Plain and simple. Like if it happens again, you're gone. Like, it's just how it is. And there's just things that we have to maintain for order, right? And so like I just want that to we can entertain. We've been talking for about an hour now. We've been entertaining this conversation back and forth. My goal, the honest goal here, is so that we can come to a place where you can go back to class, where Chef Mel is comfortable, where you're comfortable, where there's an understanding and there is a reconciliation. Because we don't want I don't want you to feel uncomfortable in that space. I don't want her to feel uncomfortable.
How do you expect the person to feel when you tell them that it happens again, you're gone? How is that comfortability when they feel comfortable exercising their right to record and access the records, you know, to maintain order? Corruption. You having to talk to somebody about something that wasn't supposed to happen, and just because I said it, and you know, if I didn't have any proof, it means nothing to you or anybody else. You see what I'm saying? But now, because I have the proof, I'm being penalized because I can prove that this person said these things, or, you know, like, why am I?
We're not penalizing you for having a recording.
No, you're telling me if it happens again, you're gone.
Yeah, you're not.
That's reprisal.
That is me telling you that our policy for this program is that people are not recording without consent.
That's not the law, though.
Chef Mel, sure.
And it's not a feeling that I have. It's just a fact that I'm bringing up and I brought up. You see what I'm saying? You mentioned it about just because you feel that way. It's not a feeling. It's a known fact that you can record if you give yourself right to consent to record. But consent is not even required in the state of New York. New York is a state where it's not required. You see what I'm trying to say? So this is a well-known fact. So bringing that up in a conversation where I'm making a complaint about somebody that questions whether or not, you know, competency, it questions whether or not you're trying to do things, you're trying to actually get to a solution, or if the solution is geared towards targeting this person, does that support the reason for the biased statements, you know, like, or determinations, like what is the motive here? You know, why is this happening? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, supporting corruption is a goal here. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, at this point, it's like, why the bias?
Like, you are making, like, flagrant allegations, and, like, I'm not going to have that because, like, again, keep coming back to this. The information that you've presented does not fall under the scope of sexual or racial harassment.
I was just talking about recording.
Right, but that's, you mentioned that
And
you
reprisal.
levied your concerns about this, and I want to make that clear that we are taking your concerns seriously. We're talking about that, which is why we're having this conversation.
And feeling comfortable after a statement like that was made.
Chef Mel did share with me that having you record in the first place made her feel uncomfortable.
See, and that right there shows you she felt uncomfortable only after the fact. She said that, oh, I guess you can stay then. But she felt more comfortable in her corrupt state that you have to talk to her about when she was saying to leave. You can leave. You know what I'm saying? And she was yelling at me. You know what I'm saying? She felt comfortable then. She didn't feel uncomfortable until after.
I just want
I showed her that I was recording.
to make very clear again, you cannot just record people.
Well, it's not just I'm going out just recording people. It's because she's misconducting herself. You see what I'm saying? And I have every right to have record of that.
You bring that to our attention.
Yeah. If, like I said, you want a copy, you can get a copy. So you can see what happened. I'll hear what happened.
You were gonna say something.
It's okay. It was
Like, because we've gone in 4 different directions here. Look, we'll have that conversation. We need you to have a conversation with Chef Mel at the beginning of class. And we'll prep her so that is a conversation that you guys can have, because we want this to be a successful program for you. But again, like, you're gonna be in job spaces where they're gonna say, hey, don't do this, and you cannot just say, oh, well, the law says that I can. Because it's not going to matter, because they're going to throw you out of the job.
It's not going to matter there at the job because of the workplace culture. But
because of the
afterwards,
policies.
when the court gets a whiff of what took place in the workplace, that's when judgment will be issued. You understand? According to the law. Now, if the judge decides not to because the judge is corrupt, which there are corrupt judges that, they did make laws and rules of the court for things, standards for judges to follow, because there have been judges in the past, and even to this day, that still violate the rules and the codes of conduct for the judges. You see what I'm trying to say? To give people the edge. If people were doing what they were supposed to do, then there would be no reason for rules to be put in place. You see what I'm saying?
No.
Or laws to be put in place.
Okay. So, like, you're
I'm just
stuck on interpretations of the law that fit you, as opposed to, like, the law and then the fact that there exist rules within organizations. As I said, marijuana, for example, you can do whatever you want as far as New York State law, but as far as federally, it's still not totally approved. You get what I'm saying? So so we have laws that fly in the face of what the federal understanding of the law is, and yet we still allow that. There's a reason for that. We as a society have accepted that within states, within municipalities, within workspaces and programs, there are policies that we have agreed to follow. You say, when you start a program, when you start a job, okay, this is your code of conduct, this is what I'm going to do. If you then go against that, then you are liable to be fired. And that's not discrimination. That's, you sign, and I'm not talking about here, because you didn't sign a contract for this, but you go to a workspace, you sign a contract, you look at their HR manual, you look at their policies, and they can fire you for any one of those things, and it's not against the law, because that's what you signed up for. And so that's like, I just want that to be clear. You can't look at it from an interpretation of the First Amendment allows me to do this, because it's not going to fly in the same way.
It's bad. This is where society has fallen. People are telling others that they can't do that. And this was never the reason why this is why the Constitution was created.
But the Constitution,
the state cannot diminish the rights of the people. Businesses within the state cannot diminish the rights of the people.
Again, the Constitution is a flawed document. If you want to be a constitutional literalist, then you then have to subscribe to the idea that black and brown people are the physical person. Since we don't believe that, then what I'm seeing is that you're interpreting the Constitution for something that's beneficial to you.
No. This is all right, so Hurtado versus California. This is your state. All right, so when it comes down to the Supreme Court and they issue laws, this covers the whole entire state. The whole entire nation has to follow the law. You understand? When it comes out to Supreme Court decisions on cases, the whole nation has to follow that. And it says that in the book. I will, take a picture of it and send it to you via email so that you can have understanding of how courts work. You understand? And why laws are passed and how they interpret it. You see what I'm saying? It's not necessarily the citizen who interprets it. Ultimately, it's the judge who rules on the case or the subject matter that creates that law.
But you will find
and how the courts will proceed when it comes down to certain subject matters coming into it.
You will find I'm talking dozens, if not hundreds, of civil suits in which an employee has something to say against their employer, in which they come down to what did our policy say. And the courts will take that side 99% of the time because as a contractor,
That's an opinion. It's not a fact.
But it's true though.
Okay, like I said, you have judges who are corrupt, who don't follow the law. They have to follow the law. They have to respect and comply with the law. That's what the judges rule. That's what the rules say. Respect and comply with the law. Now, if the judge decides not to respect and comply with the law, then that judge is not doing their job. And you report them to the appropriate committee who initiates or commences disciplinary actions against the judge. And that judge is removed from the case and another judge is put in place, especially when it's severe. Like if it's not just bias or it's prejudice or it's, let's say the judge deprived you of your right, and you had a right to do something and the statute is right there. You filed it in your motion, you put in your motion, you advocated in court at your preliminary hearing, and what happened? The judge still disregarded what you said and the law and just did what they wanted to do in support of that person because that person bribed them and paid them some money. You see, this is stuff that actually happens behind the scenes.
Recognize that happens. You cannot the judge is corrupt because again.
Oh, so bribery is not corrupt.
No, I'm saying that not every instance in which a judge has not taken the side of the employee who was let go because of their negligence or whatever they did is an instance of that judge being corrupt.
What do you mean? If it was unlawful, and the judge is not following the law, that is corruption.
So we talked about
prohibition against promise of influence. When a judge cannot make an exception for a party to an action just because of the fact that the party chose to tell a judge a lie and the judge followed it. You understand? And it has no legal basis behind what this statement is.
So you understand how contract works, right?
Yeah, contract is contract law. Yeah.
Right, and that. Like if you sign a contract, so you sign on to be a worker in a space, you agree to follow what that contract says.
Contracts are also voided if it violates the citizen's rights.
Oh my God,
that's what I'm trying to say.
So
like
there's protected class, right? If you're
fraud, that's what you call it, fraud.
If you're being let go, because you're black, because of any of those protected class kind of things, then that comes into play. If you're being let
coercion. She's telling me to go home. Like
that's not coercion, bro. That's like she has control of that space and she can determine.
I have a right to be in the classroom and learn just like everybody else.
This is not something that you pay for. This is not something.
Okay, but I'm a member of the program. You understand? And if you read statute 135.60, which is not 240.60, which is harass in the second degree. I'm talking about coercion in the third degree. That statute right there is saying when a person has the right to do something or the right to abstain from doing something, or the person is being forced or compelled to do it. You understand? Because this person wanted to, coerce a civilian population to do something that they had the right to abstain from doing. Like that's what coercion is. All right, then. That's the language of the law. That's all I'm trying to do.
The law does not apply to a local, like it's not.
State law. I'm talking about criminal penal law. That's a state law. I'm talking about that governs your conduct here at this drug place. It does cover it. That's what I'm trying to say. If I call the police right now and file a complaint,
I just want to make like you're in a free. You choose to be your program. I'm not saying that like
that has nothing to do with the law being applied to it. It don't matter if I pay for it. If I wanted to exercise my right now, call the police and file a complaint for coercion, and bring this to court,
It's not
well, that's your opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's your opinion. You have every right to believe that. But there's a tendency, a mental inclination, to say that it's not going anywhere. Like, come on. That's what you call bias.
So let me ask, where is this going?
I don't know. I'm just being told everything against what's right. And it's like, I'm just trying to do the right thing here. And this is exactly what I was experiencing when she just came up and created up stuff and, just started spitting it at me, saying you can't, not saying you can't, but she was saying, oh, you're not listening.
Again, there is no inclination of sexual harassment in that.
Okay, again, I was talking about the things that you said.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just say sexual harassment. I was talking about there's an inclination to say that it's not this, it's not sexual harassment, it's not coercion, it's not going anywhere. That's what I was saying to you. Like, I didn't just point at just sexual harassment. I was talking about many things that you just said. So that's what I was referring to. Just to be clear.
Okay.
That's all. I'm not. I have a right to be in the class and learn like everybody else. Like, I didn't do anything wrong by asking her a question. Why should I be penalized? Oh, because I came in late one day? Come on, man.
So, I have a conversation with Chef Mel to have an understanding of, from her perspective, what happened. We'll set up space for you guys to have a conversation tomorrow. Can I trouble you? This may need to be like a mediated conversation at the start of the day. Can I trouble you to go to your space?
Absolutely.
Because we don't want, right now we're at an impasse.
Yeah.
And
What does that mean?
an impasse means that we're not making any headway.
As far as what?
We're not moving forward. Because right now we're in this dead space. And what needs to happen is that we need to have an understanding of what's happening from Chef Mel's perspective. We need to relay those expectations, and then we need to have you two have a conversation in which you guys can proceed in a healthy and respectful way. If that's not able to be reached, then that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm being respectful. When I quote the law or when I'm referring to the law, I'm being respectful. I'm not being disrespectful by doing that. There's no disrespect when I was asking the question. You know what I'm saying? All I was being yelled at and, being told you could leave. You know what I'm saying? Just because, and it was just like, it was unnecessary. And I don't see how that constitutes disrespect or me violating any of the codes of conduct that clients here have to follow. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. I was being respectful by asking the question. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. What you gonna do when a person has a disability and have to? Let's say if I had a disability and I had to work well, you know what I'm saying? What you gonna do then? You're gonna get mad at the person with the disability and act the same way? That's.
Can I add
I don't have one. That's what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is that I work with somebody who is deaf, and the guy was washing dishes with me. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't dare try to treat the person with disrespect. This guy, he would get pissed off when, like, if you said something like he getting fired or something, or or he can't do this, like, he'll throw a fit. But working with him was pleasant because he was quiet. He'd do his job, and he'd go home. And they fired him one day. So I could just imagine how that went. But that's after I left. But I could just imagine if she was working with him, you wouldn't dare do that to him. So why do you do it to me?
So a couple things. There are things that you disclose when you enter a job space.
Yeah.
Reasonable accommodations, for example.
Yeah.
And so people then move accordingly. So does the manager understand that that person has a disability? Has that been presented? A person cannot be held accountable for if they treat you with the expectation that you hear normally and you haven't disclosed that you're deaf. That's on you. So let me just be clear on that. It's the truth.
The law doesn't say that you have to disclose anything.
The law,
the actual statute for the American with Disabilities Act does not say anything about you having to disclose to the employer that first before they honor your right or respect your right or the law. You know what I'm saying? Like, they decide what they want to do with, and if they don't do the right thing, that's not what the judge is
So workplaces have the right to set the expectation for hours worked, for the way that that work is done. For example, the construction worker's expectation is to walk you can lift things, right? That is a part of the expectations that are needed for the job. Now you could look at that and say, oh, that's discriminating against people who can't walk. But then, how the hell would you do that job? You know what I'm saying? And that's why you need to, that's why part of like the HR process is that you send HR not to your manager or anything like that. HR will inform them that a reasonable accommodation has been made, or that this new hire has a disability, and therefore they need this kind of schedule. And so that doesn't violate any laws because that's in place. It's designed for it to be reasonable and fair. You know what I'm saying? And so like that's what I'm saying, where like workplaces are protected by the law in terms of the way that they set their policy, insofar as it's not infringing upon your civil liberties and.
That's what you think civil liberties are. The constitutional rights. That's what I'm. Oh man, the Bill of Rights are civil liberties. That's what I'm saying.
I'm aware of that.
No, I don't think. Like, but why would you say that I can't exercise my First Amendment right, or I will be let go, and then turn around and say that, you know, it can't infringe on your constitutional civil liberties or your constitutional rights?
Your right to.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's contradicting. That's the way it is. I mean, people are allowed to, you know, say what they want to say, fine. But
you have a right to not be recorded.
No.
If somebody says, if somebody came into your face and put up a camera, what do you do? How do you feel about that?
You could feel offended, but that's not.
You're having.
You can't do nothing about it.
You know that we have.
You know how many people drove by, took pictures of me while I was walking?
Right.
You know,
you shouldn't be doing that.
Shouldn't be, because that's a common like courtesy. You know, like, but at the same time, you can't enforce that your personal beliefs on somebody else, especially when law is in place. You see what I'm trying to say? Unless we work together to change the law. But a constitutional right is a basic fundamental principle.
So Josh, if I take a picture of you that 80% and I post it online, I will be fired.
That's not true.
That is 100% true.
She took a picture of me while I was standing there, and Lieghanna was there today, and Daniel was there. She took a picture of me while me and whatchamacallit was there. He was pouring something into the bowl or the container. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't take offense to that. She's a chef. You see what I'm saying? And she posts. If she posted, she posted. There's nothing legally I can do to her.
She's taking
Nothing.
pictures to
Nothing legally I can do.
That's all. Chef Mel is taking pictures of the class.
I could have took it as, oh, she just finished sexual harassing me, and now it's a show of intimidation. Now she's going to take the picture, and she's going to go and go to her mafia friends and give the picture to them. And now, so who knows? So they can offer me. Like I could say, like I could think some crazy thoughts. Right? That's what I'm saying. I could think some crazy thoughts if I didn't know her. You know what I'm saying? Or what she was doing. You know, and me and her just had an argument. But we literally just had an argument, and she took a picture. You see what I'm trying to say? But I'm not taking it like that or taking offense to it. You see what I'm saying? So me, because of the workplace, because of what she's doing, her profession, it should also be the same and understood because of the circumstance that I'm in. Because of the circumstance, she's a teacher. Because of the circumstance, I'm a student, and I just literally just having an argument with her and was heated, and she told me to leave and yelled at me, bro. Anybody would see that and have an understanding like, yo, it was the right thing to do, because now it's proof whether or not, you know, if something happens to me from here where let's say I'm let go or whatever the case, like you said, that's proof to show like this is what happened. This is why I was let go. You see what I'm trying to say? So if I bring this situation to a lawyer, they gonna want proof. Oh, proof is even better, because now in court he can prove my statement. Now he can go off of the facts and create the complaint based off of the evidence, rather than what I'm saying to him. Because I might not be saying everything. Like I told you, I'm telling you stuff, but I might not be saying everything that's in the evidence. You see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about. So she might not know what she said, or maybe she does know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she doesn't want to disclose everything she said. But the recording tells the truth. But isn't it the truth what you want, not what somebody can say or can remember? Don't you want the truth? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's like you want me to fabricate or forget certain things when the recording tells you everything. I don't want you to feel tired. I know it's draining. We've been here for about an hour now, talking back and forth. I get it. You're tired. We can move on. We can leave. We can go home, and we can come in tomorrow. We can do whatever we're gonna do. I'm not trying to be here. I'm not here for this. Me knowing the law it shouldn't bother anybody. It's not like I should be put to harassment litigation just because somebody wants me to constantly be overwhelmed with legal situations. Like, what is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? This is crazy. Like, just because I discussed something in class about, you know, recording and stuff like that doesn't mean that I should be put up to the test about what I said. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, it's constantly where it's like all these different scenarios is going through my head. Which one is it? Is it because I came in late this morning? Is it because I'm, you know, I had the conversation with Miss Lieghanna, you know, early on in the training, you know, about recording and posting things on YouTube? Is it what? Is it because I'm smart or I have ability to remember things, and it's not liked by somebody else? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? Because I'm black? You know what I'm saying? Or is it because you just want to issue sexual harassment and then later on say that it doesn't meet the elements? Or it's just not sexual harassment, even though the law says it is? Or, you know, who knows what scenario, which one it is? Like, but obviously it's what you're saying. You're saying that it's not sexual harassment. It's, you know, it's not going anywhere, you know, and it don't matter if you have the evidence. Basically is what you're saying. So if I bring it before a lawyer, you know, the reason why the lawyer won't take my case is because I don't have money. But if I gave a lawyer 50 grand right now, you don't think he'll take my case? All right. If I gave him 50 grand and continue to support him going to court, the reason why lawyers don't take cases that they feel that won't go anywhere, financial.
We're here.
All right. I was just talking.
I'm going to call Chef Mel to have an understanding of what's going on here. If I'm going to give you my honest opinion as to what happened, there was a miscommunication between the two.
Yes.
And lack of justice, and
That's what
it escalated from there, right? And so let's move from there. Let's move, do you want to continue being on this project? Like, and I'm not saying this is
I mean,
do you
because
want to
I'm
continue this?
disagree with you in regards to all of your statements that I made in regards to my what I said, what certain things constitute, whether it was CPL, criminal penal law, or whatever. Regardless of that, like, I still want to be in this program. I'm not saying that, and I showed that when I was there in the class, and after going through the harassment, still continue to learn or try to learn, despite the interruption, because that's what that was. And I kind of identified that as I was talking to Ms. Lieghanna here in regards to what was going on. It was an interruption to my learning, and it was more than a miscommunication, because there was no miscommunication. Besides the fact that she's creating scenarios that never existed and then penalizing me on it after that, saying, well, you can go home and keep, like, you treat, like, that's come on, man, that is you creating scenarios that never happened and then saying you can go home and yelling at me. That's what the recording was saying from local law 96. We can go back through it together, and then, in fact, I have it written because I was taking notes of what certain things that were relative to what took place, and I'll just email them to you so that you can see.
What do you mean?
Right now, just peace, man. I just want to learn. That's it. I'm just like everybody else. I come here, I learn. I can have a conversation with her, whether or not she want to talk to me, because she literally took me in the closet. She told me to put the stuff in the cup. I don't know if you heard that part when I was talking about it. And then next thing you know, we get outside, she don't want it in the cup. And then it was the other situation that I was describing to you. It was like, a combination of things. So I don't know what to expect out of her, because what she's doing is, and then even after Lieghanna came, we went to go look at the stock, and then I see the stock over there, and I ask a question or something like that. She didn't answer. So she was talking to me outside in front of everybody, but then when we get over there, no answer. So this is kind of the same thing. When homeboy asked her question, she didn't answer. You know what I'm saying? He didn't answer to when she asked the question. You know what I'm saying? But he felt different. I know he felt different. You know what I'm saying? She was just, I don't know what's going through her head, man. Like I said, I don't know if it's mental health issues or what, but all I know is that I'm being targeted. He was being targeted at one point, but he overcame that or whatever the case may be. So I'm just looking at it from observation from the outside, and I'm looking at it like, maybe that's what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't have these type of problems. Like I had some issues with teachers in the past, but not like this. Like she's doing some stuff, man. I don't understand like her why she's doing it. I know why she's doing it. She's trying to weed me out. Obviously, she's telling me to leave, but this is not fair to me. You know what I'm saying? It's not fair to me. You basically try to end my stuff, and tell me, it made me feel highly uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable, and I told Lieghanna that. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel comfortable talking to her without recording, like, to be honest with you. And you can listen to the recording and see why.
Can you and I have a conversation with her tomorrow? Would you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, but I just didn't feel comfortable talking to her. And it was just like, because I didn't do that to her. I never did that to her. I don't understand why she's doing that to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's obvious because she feels. Do you feel that I'm not listening to you? Besides disagreeing with you, I disagree with you, but is that considered not listening to you?
No, but I could see instances in the kitchen space where that can happen.
Where a disagreement is not listening.
Correct.
Now, me disagreeing about the law, is that has anything to do with my work ethics and performance in the kitchen space?
No, and I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. I got you. I know. What do you think, man? What do you think? That's what I was saying. Because there's a difference between differences in interpretation or the law and my performance in the workspace. Oh yeah, thank you. I would have forgot that. So that's all I'm trying to say, man. I'm not in the workplace doing this hour-long conversation, and I'm not going to do it, quite frankly. You know what I'm saying? I would just say, like I said today, and if the person just don't want to do whatever they're supposed to do, then fine. Like, I can't control people. I don't have no control over them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm talking about it.
I understand.
And I felt better talking to Lieghanna about the situation because Lieghanna, sorry, my fault.
No, it's okay.
My fault. It's not, I didn't mean nothing behind that.
I know you didn't.
The way I pronounce it, you know what I'm saying? And I felt better, and that's the reason why I could, because I had somebody to talk to about it.
Yeah.
Because she was there, and it was like, oh, okay. I talked to her about it. But when I was talking to her, it was like nobody in the class said nothing. And it was like, yo, you all right? You know what I'm saying? Why do people in the class have to ask you one more?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? After all of that. You see what I'm trying to say? If it wasn't nothing, why they have to do that?
Yeah, I understand.
All right. So I believe
I'm sorry. Things went like this. You feel really we're going to have a conversation. Melvin is going to talk with Chef Mar tonight. And the three of us will have a conversation tomorrow.
No problem.
In the kitchen space.
all right, cool. See each other.
Yeah, okay.
All right.